We know that real estate is going to be one of our pathways to generational wealth. So that's why we refuse to stop. Right. We could have easily been like, all right, forget it. Let's just sell the condo, which I think a lot of people do.
I can see how you get to that point easily,
especially when equity is up, because the type of market we're in, it's easy. It's like, you know what? Let's just sell the condo. Let's get our equity right now and then be done with it. But for us, it's long term. It's about 30 years, 40 years, what we can pass on to our kids. So we're sticking in with this condo and we're sticking in with real estate, period. There's a whole nother real estate barrier that we could go into maybe on another podcast, right? So I want to shift gears a little bit, unless there's a comment, and talk about barriers in entrepreneurship. Welcome, Melanated Married Millionaires in the making and friends, to another impactful episode. We're about to go through and highlight a melanated married couple, or just go through some lessons that we got. Make sure y'all tap in with the conversation. Queen, where can they go to tap in?
TheeM4Show.com.
Yes, ma'am. And make sure y'all follow us on Instagram. Queen, where can they follow us on Instagram?
TheeM4Show.
Now, if y'all haven't liked and subscribed, it would make the Queen very, very happy. If you can go ahead. Very? What should they do?
You should go ahead and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're watching or listening. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
It's free, and your first step to becoming a millionaire. Go ahead and click that button. And let's get into the show.
Let's do it. I said amen.
He said, may you pray over fertility.
When the time is right. That was the last part of it.
Yeah, definitely want to do that. No rush. But welcome back, y'all, to the M4 show. Something's been on the spirit. Something's been on my heart, because we're working in these classrooms. We're developing the next generation of entrepreneurs. We're engaging with folks on the podcast, on the YouTube. But for some reason, people want the shortcut to wealth.
Yeah.
People want the shortcut in the race of life, in the race of building generational wealth. But it's a marathon, y'all.
Yeah.
Right. And we hear this all the time. We hear it's a marathon. But today, if it's okay, Queen, what I want to do is I want to really break down what a marathon means when it comes to building generational wealth, some of the pitfalls and barriers that we've experienced in this race, in this run, and really just give folks like a realistic vision of things to maybe look out for when they're on this path of entrepreneurship, real estate development, and building wealth.
Yeah.
Cool?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Over 50% of Black Americans are unmarried, and only 2% of Black families in America have a net worth over $1 million.
We are on our journey to not only join that 2%, but grow that 2%.
Facts. I'm Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, with my beautiful co-host.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. You can go to our website at TheeM4Show.com, our Instagram at TheeM4Show, and our YouTube channel at Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making.
And welcome to the M4 Show. Hey, dance with it. Yeah. It's a dance marathon. That's what it is.
Oh, you know I'm down for that. Have you ever done a dance-a-thon or whatever they call it?
I've heard of the dance-a-thon at like UCLA, where they'd go for literally 24 hours and they raise money for some medical nonprofit. But have I ever participated in a dance-a-thon? No, ma'am.
Me either, but I want to.
Okay, well, you experience it first. I will record you.
At the end of that, you want to dance? No.
I
never danced again in my life.
Body's hurt. But welcome back to the M4 Show, Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making. I'm your host, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. And of course, I have my matcha drinking, dance, marathon, sweatshirt stealing queen herself. Please introduce yourself to the people.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. And happy to be here drinking my matcha. It's warm matcha today. Normally we do iced, but it's winter, so it's warm.
Oh goodness, you're gonna be one of those. You're gonna become one of those people. Oh man. But in all seriousness, getting into the topic for today is covering the endurance of wealth, right? I think, go ahead, Queen.
Sorry, I just wanted to say we got someone who's vibing with the intro. We can't see your name, so if we know you, or if we don't, feel free to put your name in there so we give you a shout out.
Yeah, much love. We actually just switched up the intro chemistry today. Right. So if you do like it, definitely let us know. If you hate it, keep it to yourself. Now, what we're going to talk about today is the endurance of wealth, right? So we want to make sure that the 2% of Black families that have a net worth of over $1 million continues to grow. In order to grow that population, we need to build the endurance, the resilience, the financial literacy, and of course, the love of Black families all around the world. So we want to talk about endurance today and what it takes. Now, before we get into our journey, some of the barriers that we've recently fought through / got over, and then some other things just along the journey of building Black Wall Street, the board game, and other businesses. Queen, can you please hit the people with the did you know?
Yes, I can. So when we're talking about endurance, right, it's your ability to really withstand those rough times, right? Mm-hmm. And the idea is that if you do that, you can also build towards longevity, which is how long, like if you're talking about health, right, how long you're able to live, how your lifespan, your health span, which I think is even more important than lifespan. But one of the things, you think so?
I think that's a whole nother podcast topic.
Okay. Yeah. Well, put a pin in that. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that can improve your longevity is fasting. Now, I've talked about fasting on here before, but I do want to talk about it as it related to weight loss. That's mainly what we talked about it before. But I want to talk about it as it relates to longevity. So if you think about when we eat something and our body having to digest it, it's actually one of the most taxing processes that our bodies do on a daily basis. Mm. Digestion is an extremely taxing process on our bodies. Mm. So if you think about if we're constantly eating, constantly putting that very taxing process on our body, we may not have as long of a lifespan as we would if we gave our bodies a little bit of a break every now and then. Mm. And so that can have some really profound effects on resetting your entire system, right? Resetting your liver, allowing your body to actually fully detoxify all of the buildup that is in our systems. Are you laughing because my what are you laughing about?
I was laughing at your mom's statement last night when she was like, "You don't got a liver like my liver. Your liver ain't been through the life that my liver's been through." So I'm like, "Oh no."
Facts. My family, you know how we get down. But yes, you give your body a reset, your liver a reset. Think about, you can't really empty a cup if you're constantly pouring into it, right? So it gives your liver a reset. It gives your digestive tract a reset. It gives your cells at the cellular level. It gives you a reset, and your cells are actually able to get rid of the waste as well. That's a newer field called autophagy. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but giving yourself a little bit of a break through intermittent fasting can help you increase improve your longevity. And there was actually a study done, and this doesn't have to be for like days and days and days. This can be, they suggested a 12 to 48 hour fast once a week. So again, that can simply be skipping breakfast on Mondays. Intentionally, right? That can be it. And if you do that once a week, that can help with your longevity, help your body's detoxification system. Mm-hmm. So look into fasting. Definitely check in with your doctor if you need to. If you're taking medications, make sure you're checking with your doctor. Make sure that's going to be something safe for you. Women, I want to give this other shout outs here and a caveat here. Women need to do fasting periodically, because over time that can be damaging to our hormones if we do it very intensely over long periods of time. I learned that from experience. So let me learn from my words. Don't go through that. But definitely incorporate a 1 day of skipping a meal that can turn into a 12 to 14 hour fast that can help you live longer.
There it is. All right. Fast 1 day a week. Go ahead, do that practical advice from the health nerd. Now, although fasting 1 day a week can improve longevity, unfortunately, there's no escaping that glory call. Right? There's no escaping that glory call. So you do want to make sure that you are prepared financially and you leave a legacy for your family and not a bill for your family. So that gives us the small business sponsor of the week, the Sunshine Agency. Let's go ahead and throw that up. The Sunshine Agency, they focus on life insurance and making sure that when you leave this universe, leave this planet, you leave behind a legacy for your family and not a bill for your family. All right. Me and the Queen, we've invested in health insurance and life insurance for our family to make sure we leave a generation better off than us.
Absolutely.
Now, we didn't go to the Sunshine Agency because we didn't know them yet, but we're definitely going to tap in. All right. So you can go to the legacynotabill.com in order to see what they have to offer and learn more about life insurance. We can also throw up their mission motto, and the person with better eyes, her, will go ahead and read that.
The Sunshine Agency is a life insurance broker here to help families learn about insurance and financial security. I think in our community, that is extremely important because I think there's a lot of misnomers about life insurance and what it is and what it means for people. So I think that changing that narrative is going to be huge for narrowing that wealth gap. Yeah.
Literally, as soon as we pass away, our kids are millionaires. I'm just gonna put that out there. Yeah. Don't come for us. But if you do, our kids become millionaires. So I want to get into it, Queen.
Before you get into it, I do want to give Bottle a shout out here. He's giving us a lot of love.
Bottle. I texted you the other day. I don't know if I had the right number. Let me see. Did you text me back?
But one, he says his wife is listening here for the first time and she likes it so far.
Come on, Queen.
And asked about M4 merch.
Oh, M4 merch is on the way. It's on the way. Technically, it's available on the website right now. We got some shirts available, but we got some more saucy later on. I'm gonna hit you if it's the right number. If not, I'm gonna hit you on Facebook and give you the link for the merch. But want to get back to it. So when did we run our first 5K? This was San Diego.
Yeah. I mean,
we ran it. It was like 2019, 18.
Is that before or after we got married?
You guys, good questions. Before. Am I going to lose points if I miss this answer?
No, because I don't know either. Okay, I think it was before, though.
Okay, me too. I think it's 18.
I think it's 2018.
Shout out to Daniel. Daniel ran it with us. Yep. And my philosophy, my mindset when I was running that 5K was, Devon, don't you stop. Right? That was my thing the whole time. Because for me, when I stop, it's harder for me to get going again. So I was just like, no matter what, don't you stop. Now, on that 5K, and Sinclair can attest to this, there were some hills.
Look, like that was, I don't know if that was the right first 5K to do.
Like 90-degree hills, right?
That was a test.
That was the test. And again, like I would hit a nice speed, and me and Daniel were like kind of competing against each other the whole time.
Not me. I was way far behind.
I don't know where she was.
Also not stopping, but know your speed.
Look, Bottle, I had a second where I was like, I can run with the Queen.
I don't want that.
I can push myself and challenge myself. Yeah, she didn't want me to.
I don't want that.
But I pushed myself. I kept up with Daniel, and then we hit this hill, and this is where Daniel left me. But I was just like, don't you stop. Don't you stop. And I feel like in the marathon of wealth building, we're starting to hit a few hills in our experience. And I feel like my mindset, I know the Queen's mindset is, just don't stop. Just keep going. Because I think once you stop building that wealth, or you stop running that 5K, it can be like, okay, well, I'll just walk.
Right.
And then all these people start passing you. And unfortunately, within our identity as being Black Americans, we've been lapped and lapped and lapped because we couldn't run, because we were forced to walk, or we were forced to walk backwards.
We had chains on our feet.
We had chains, right? We were locked up. So the fact that now I just want to make sure we're keeping the forward momentum so that we can close that wealth gap as quick as possible. Queen, we're going through a little bit of a hill. Do you mind talking about, I got two off my head. I don't know which one you want to talk about first. They're both real estate related. Okay. But I feel like you're the Queen in real estate. You're taking charge in this relationship when it comes to real estate investing. So do you mind briefly talking about at least one of the barriers we're going through currently and how we're thugging it out and pushing through it?
Yeah. So let's go in chronological order.
What was that word?
Chronological.
There you go.
Don't come for me.
So we got bottles white. I just want to make sure we're not making up words this episode. We usually do, though.
We do. Who is Miriam? So the first real estate property that we bought was a condo. And so we lived in it. I'm assuming that's one of the two you were talking about. Okay, great. Where am I? I can see
you're just starting off at the very beginning, but that's fine as long as this is a brief story.
Long story short, we're now renting out of the condo that we first purchased. And so we've got this last year, we got our first experience with being like landlords, if you will. And we did make the decision to act as property managers as well for this first property, because we want to get the experience, right? It's easy to pass something off and not have any experience into it, but I feel like you have another level of respect and expectations that you can pass on when we do get to the point that we want to, hire a property manager, because we know what because we know what it takes.
Yes, ma'am.
So long story short, we, have to find the tenants. We have to make sure our place was up to code for someone who's not us, right? There may be things that like, we'll just deal with this, right? But when someone's paying for rent, they are going to also have a certain expectation of my place needs to have this, right? We need to, make sure they're paying rent, but also like have cross your T's and dots your I's. So like, right, if we've had issues with like plumbing, right? The garbage disposal not working, right? So it's also calling the plumber, at wee odds of the night or whatever to make sure that they can come out. But yeah, we finished the lease. We decided not to renew the lease.
Why?
Because they late rent. Let's just put it out there. Our expectation is that we get rent on time. It's a very clear expectation. It was outlined in the lease. We did make sure that we, really went through the lease and made sure that everything that we wanted to set as expectations was in the lease, which was signed, right? We got all of that. But unfortunately, life happens, whatever. But the expectation that rent being paid on time started to fall through. And, if it's a one-time thing, everybody's human, then it started to become a pattern. And, that's not something that we wanted to set the precedent that was okay. So we did not renew their lease. And so now we're in the process of having to find a new tenant. And I'm not sure how much detail you're wanting to give for this situation.
So I want to stop there, and then we can continue, but I want to make sure it's digestible, right? So first things first, I think everybody and their mama wants to get, maybe everyone and our mamas want to get into real estate, right? I feel like it's all over YouTube, it's all over Instagram. Everyone's like, oh, multifamily property, do this. Oh, the easiest way to become a millionaire is real estate. And it's like easy. It's not easy though.
It's not easy.
Right. And I think the uneasy part isn't talked about often. I think what happens when your tenant doesn't pay rent for 3 months in a row isn't something that's Googleable.
Right.
And like there was a whole bunch of steps that we needed to then learn afterwards on what you're supposed to do to legally try to get somebody out. And we just learned a lot from this process. Yeah. And luckily we have an amazing family of people around us and just like friends. Like again, shout out to Daniel and Megan who were able to walk us through some stuff. Shout out to my grandma who has years of real estate experience and she was able to walk us through some stuff. Shout out to my mom and my other grandma who were in real estate. So it's just like we were blessed to have a village, a kingdom of people who can be like, did you do this?
Right.
Did you send this letter? You can call this person. You can do this. And it's like, oh no, we didn't know that. The internet didn't say that.
Because I'm an internet warrior. Right. I will search everything.
She was on there. So can we talk about just like maybe two very practical things? And I'm pointing to you because I'm very grateful to have your amazing melanated genius mind in my life and over real estate because it was a lot of stress and I saw you going through it. Appreciate you thugging it out and getting through the barrier. So can you give people two practical things or steps that you did / we did to get on the other side of this hump? Look, we're gonna get right back into the amazing podcast. But if you didn't know, in 2017, we created Black Wall Street, the board game, because we thought more families needed to know about the history of Tulsa Black Wall Street. More families needed to know about the legacy of Black excellence left behind of Tulsa Black Wall Street, that we can own a Madam C.J. Walker Beauty Salon. We can have a Booker T. Washington High School. We can have an Uncle Steve's Barbecue. We can have a Renaissance man like Simon Berry, who had his own taxi service and bus service that got bought out by the city of Tulsa. We have brilliance in our DNA. We wanted to make sure that your family can play a game that teaches them about this brilliance. So we have Black Wall Street, the board game right here. We had the first edition available in 2017 that got sold out. We're on the second edition right now, or you can get the beautiful masterpiece version of the game as well. It's up to you. Head to playblackwallstreet.com and get yourself Black Wall Street, the board game, to empower you, your family, and generations to come. Playblackwallstreet.com. Let's get back to the episode.
Yes. One of them, you can let me know if it's practical enough for you.
Oh, I will.
But this was an initial,
words today.
Words are not my strong suit today. An initial mindset shift that I had to have in order to do what was necessary.
Ooh, yeah. Talk about that. I think I know where you're going.
You have to keep it strictly business.
Yeah.
That is difficult. If you are a compassionate person, if you're an empathetic person, right? You know, again, we're the property managers, so we met this person, right? We saw their family, all these people, right? We not really helped them move in, kind of.
I lifted some couches. Did? What you mean?
You're right. You did. Like, we helped them move in, right? We wanted them to be successful.
Go ahead.
Okay, I opened the gate.
You. Oh wait, yes, you did open the gate.
But so it is difficult to start thinking about, what if I need to kick this person out of their home, right? We live in California. There is already homelessness is already a big issue. And we always talk about, like, everybody's one decision away from being in that situation. And it's like, what if I am the person that initiates that one thing that just spirals into something else for that person? I had to remove myself from the emotional part of that. And unfortunately, right, this is a business transaction. So, and it's like, I think that's where a lot of folks, like, they get like a nasty taste in their mouth from, like, landlords, but we have to do that. Otherwise, it is so easy to fall into the pitfall of being walked all over, you know, and especially in a very tenant friendly state like California, right? You have to follow those procedures. Otherwise, it just becomes harder and harder to actually make your business a business and keep it afloat. Right. And that's where you see foreclosures and things like that. We didn't want that to be our reality. So long story short, when it was like the first time, right, the rent was late, I was like, okay, what is the eviction process? Like, how do you actually go about that? Because that's not something I looked at beforehand. I was fully manifesting that was not going to be something we had to do. So of course, when it started to become like, is this something we're going to have to do? I then had to go and research, which I think made it stressful. So I will say preliminarily take your emotions out of it and make sure that you are operating as strictly business transactional. And that's, sorry.
Can I sprinkle a little something, Queen? Not to cut off your wisdom. Is, I think at one point we saw ourselves as like the owners of the house, and we operated as if we were the owners of the house, which I think had the emotions in the place. But then there was another mindset shift. We were like, okay, we're not the owners, we're the property managers. Right. So let's not be emotionally attached to this condo. Let's not be emotionally attached to this individual that we met. Let's operate as if we are working for someone else who needs to pay the mortgage. And if we don't get this rent from this person, then the people that we work for can't pay their mortgage. And I think that also helps me. I'm a very emotional. But they have but had to, nope, we're the property managers. We need to get this stuff done in order to keep moving forward.
Because the reality is, right, if you don't do that, you are going to be the person losing out. So, right, it's either we have to have that strict, right, the business transactional relationship. We have to remove the emotions. Otherwise, we're going to be the ones that are struggling to pay the mortgage on a property that we don't have a paying rent payer in it. So, and that's when I think when we started to feel like, okay, like, we are now financially stressed and financially strained by this relationship. We have to cut it off, because otherwise we are now threatening our own generational wealth. And you ain't gonna do that. I'm sorry.
No. So that's one real good practical one, is mindset shift, right? Removing the emotions from it and putting yourself, even if you're the owner of the real estate, just be the property manager.
They don't have to know that.
They don't need to know that. You're the property manager. This is my associate. This is my partner, right? Go ahead and put that little veil over. I see some words I don't know when these words came up, Sinclair.
These are words talking about the small business sponsor. Bottle is a life insurance agent.
Bottle. Come on, man. All right, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk.
And at least I'm assuming that's who, because he's the only person in the comments. So I'm assuming that's him.
And he invited us when we visit his state, his city. Don't know if you want that on air, that we need to go and tap in with him. And we will be in that state and city next year for sure. Don't know when, for sure, be out that way. So I want to move us to entrepreneurship in a second, but I know you have one more practical thing to give folks. Hit them with it.
So along the lines with the first one, I mentioned it was very stressful thinking about the what ifs when it was becoming a reality. So my suggestion is that you have all of that lined up before you even get that first tenant. Is that okay? If rent is late, this is what we do. If it's late again, this is how we operate. This is the document that will be sent, right? This is the attorney that I will call, whatever it is, right? Yep. Have all of that lined up so that you don't have to react. So yeah, that is my other tangible thing, right? There's a lot of templates. I'm not making up any of these templates. I don't know the lingo, but there is a lot of templates online that you can go find and then remix to make it applicable to your situation. So get online, search for those before you even get the tenant in so that you have it ready, locked and loaded for if you will need it.
Yep. And to give two specific examples of things that were sent, it was one, a notice of not renewing their lease, which I think was great. We sent that, I think, 2 months in advance before the lease officially ended. Month and a half. You have to send it within
1 month.
1 month.
And that's on a 1-year lease.
Beautiful, right? So if you have a tenant, for whatever reason, whether you want someone else to move in, whether they're not paying their rent on time, whether you're trying to sell the property, whatever it is, go ahead and send them this notice of non-renewal.
Lease non-renewal. Now, mind you, we are not experts. This is strictly experiential, right? So please go find a real estate expert. This is relevant to us in California in December of 2022. These things change all the time. Please go and do your own research. We're just telling you our experience and what we've learned in the past few months.
Beautiful. Thank you, Queen. So that's real estate. That's been one of the humps. We know that real estate is going to be one of our pathways to generational wealth. So that's why we refuse to stop, right? We could have easily been like, all right, forget it. Let's just sell the condo, which I think a lot of people do.
I can see how you get to that point easily,
especially when equity is up because of the type of market we're in. It's easy. It's like, you know what? Let's just sell the condo. Let's get our equity right now and then be done with it. But for us, it's long term. It's about 30 years, 40 years, what we can pass on to our kids. So we're sticking in with this condo and we're sticking in with real estate, period. There's a whole nother real estate barrier that we could go into maybe on another podcast, right? So I want to shift gears a little bit, unless there's a comment, and talk about barriers in entrepreneurship.
Just Bottle saying that he can't wait till we make it out there.
Oh yeah, we popping up on you. Is when do you know? And this is going to be the Ask Declare question later on. So I'm just going to ask it to you now. We're not entering Ask Declare yet, but I'm gonna plant this seed. Yes, when do you know to give up on a business idea? Right. So I'm gonna plant that with you. And I know we have a very specific example. Yep. So feel free, marinate on how you want to approach it. But for Black Wall Street, the board game, we thought it was a brilliant idea. All right. Had the idea in 2017. None of the middle school students or high school students that we were engaging with knew about the history of Tulsa Black Wall Street. People like playing games. People like another small game called Monopoly. So how can we, always got to throw a little shade. How can we take that gameplay, add Black history knowledge to it, shift it a little bit, and make a new game, right? Brilliant in our heads. We launched our Kickstarter 2018. Some of y'all may know this story. I was listening to some Dame Dash videos, and
Dame Dash.
My man Dame Dash was like, "Hey, if you real, you don't got to market. If you're real and your product is good, if your work is good, people will find you. The customer will find you." And this was, I was 1 year out of college, young, feeling myself, had a brilliant idea. I was like, yeah, Dame Dash, we're real. We don't need a market. They go find us. Check me. All that. Check me. Right.
I As you can tell, this probably went.
Right. None of it went according to plan. So we launched the Kickstarter. We did a video. Honestly, looking back at the video, terrible. Just like all the YouTube videos we did back in 2017, all terrible.
You said we lost the Kickstarter. I feel like you got to put the numbers in there to really know how bad.
Yeah. So we launched the Kickstarter, and
I thought you said lost. You said launched.
I did. Okay. I did. Our goal was $28,000. Right. And that was based on some projections. That was based on us being able to get all the board games, sell them, all that good stuff without having to do too much out of pocket investment. Would have been ideal. Would have been beautiful. We raised 5,000. And if you don't know how Kickstarter works, if you don't raise the full amount, you get zero. Nada. Zilch.
Everybody's contributions get refunded.
Yeah, they get right back to the person. So the customers, the backers, they don't lose anything. They get their money back. So yeah, I was like, 28,000, let's do it. The amazing genius queen was like, I don't know, that's kind of a lot. Maybe we should be more realistic. I was like, Dame Dash said, Sinclair, if you're real, you don't have to market. Dream, shoot for the stars.
Dame Dash is talking to other Dame Dashes.
That's a fact. And we're not there yet. We'll be there. Give me like 6 more years. We'll get there. But so long story short, we failed, right? Completely flopped, didn't get any of the money. And there was a nice week, maybe 2-week process where it was like, maybe we can give up on entrepreneurship.
Like, what now?
Yeah. Like,
we both still had full-time jobs. So it was like, this is just a hobby. This is just something, I mean, nothing to lose.
Literally nothing to lose except this beautiful future that we're in right now. But literally had a full-time job. Queen had an amazingly paying full-time job. We could have, compared to what I was making in education, you were balling, right? So we could have easily, again, let that hill stop us. We could have stopped our walk of generational wealth right there and just be like, you know what, forget this. But one, because it felt too important to us to give up on it, right? The legacy of Tulsa Black Wall Street and just what it stood for, what it stands for, and what this game could do in families. It was like, no, we got to do it. But then two, it's always been, since we've been engaged and serious about a relationship, it's always been in the cards to build our own business and work for ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Once that seed was planted, it's hard to go.
It's hard to go back for us. It's hard to go back. So we fought through that barrier. We started marketing our product. Started marketing our product, and we were able to sell out our first editions of the board game within like 2 months, like literally Thanksgiving of 2018, sold out the first editions. On the second editions of the game, masterpiece, been doing school mentorship programs and more exciting stuff on the way. Literally tap in at Play Black Wall Street on Instagram, more exciting things on the way. But if we would have stopped, none of this stuff would have happened.
Yeah.
We now have a full team of people, at least 6, right, that are getting paid from Play Black Wall Street. And it's like, we're able to literally impact lives because we didn't stop. And I think that's the short message I want to give folks here. And Queen, sprinkle some on it, is you're going to hit some barriers, but you have to make sure you kick those doors down and you keep on going so you get to that other side.
Yeah. I think one thing that I wanted to touch on as well is when you said, right, so we tried to do, this was the first product we ever tried. And we launched a Kickstarter, again, as he mentioned, to try to decrease the amount of capital that we had to put up front. We really were trying to not put up too much, if not any.
Ideally, y'all wasn't rocking with that, though.
Right? I mean, if we could use y'all's money, why do we put in any of our own?
You get your money, you get the beautiful game.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The universe was like, nah, bro.
You go work for this.
You got to put in some sweat equity.
Literally.
So I think that was an interesting message as well. When we're talking about like trying to take a shortcut, right? Is like, we didn't have too much skin or too much skin in the game at that point, right? But we wanted to receive that in order to make it an easier and smoother process. But what we ended up having to do is put up our own money to buy this first round of games, not knowing how this was going to go, especially because keep in mind, our Kickstarter failed. So we had no idea how it was going to go, but we were like, let's believe in it. Let's manifest it. Let's go for it. And so, yes, we ended up putting our own money to get this first round of games. We started marketing, right? We learned from our mistakes. And we were able to sell out of those first ones within the first couple months. So I think that also taught us a couple of things about, again, you have to put in the work. You have to put in the equity. You have to have some skin in the game to be able to see those rewards. It's not just going to come to you. So I think that was another like lesson to learn from that experience.
Oh yeah. Roll them dice. Don't be scared if you know the math. What's your dream? Can't be scared if you got a plan. Who you with? Who's your team? Pray it's not the clan. Nip told us all not to ever pay a middleman. Man, that guy got bars. So
he wrote that.
I did. I want to shift. And yeah, definitely if there's comments, Queen, please help me out.
Yeah. It said, it's been my experience that when you have a roadmap or mentor in the industry, it cuts down the bumps in the road you encounter. That's facts. That's facts. That can smooth the road a little bit because there's somebody who's probably gone through those same struggles. Unfortunately, we did not have a mentor at the time. No. We've got several now, but yeah, at the time we did not have any. So we were just entering a game we knew nothing about, or an industry we knew nothing about.
And to add on that, I think it's not just about finding a mentor in the space, but finding a mentor in the space that aligns with your values. So I think we did get some mentorship in the incubator program.
True.
But unfortunately, it was from white men who didn't know the history of Tulsa Black Wall Street and didn't align with our values. And from the jump, they were trying to have us change the name of our product and just do other things that didn't align with our values. So definitely love the finding a mentor. The only thing I'll add on that is finding someone who also but believes in what you're building and has the same value system as you.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get back to the episode in a second, but breathe. If you've ever had a brilliant idea, I'm pretty sure everybody just took a breath right there, right? Because we all have amazing ideas, but I got a question for you. What's stopping you from taking that idea and actually making it into a business, actually executing on your brilliance? My name is Devon Truvel, and in 2018, I was able to create, market, and sell my own product while still working a 9-to-5. And through the years, I've taken the lessons we've learned, the expensive webinars that I've gone to, and the dozens of business books that I've read, and I've discovered 7 simple steps to launch your business. If you're ready to take your business idea to the next level and make it real and start making profit from your passion, head to www.launchitcommunity.com and grab yourself the book. We've been able to make it very simple, affordable, and easier than ever to start that business while still working your 9-to-5. And we take entrepreneurs every single Friday and we talk to them. We teach them about how to use social media. We teach them about how to set up their Instagram account, how to use Shopify, how to use Printful and other tools that can help you take your business to the next level, but not take tons of time away from your 9-to-5 and your busy life that you already have. So if you're ready to take that idea to the next level, make sure you head to www.launchitcommunity.com, get yourself a book, and join our free accountability calls. Now, let's get back to the episode.
I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure they just thought we were talking about the stock market and just threw black on there.
Yeah, it's like, nah, man.
Like, this is a place. Like, this is a whole thing.
Whole vibe. Come on, my guy. Right. But getting into the Ask Declare segment, have you had time to marinate on it?
I'm not that good at multitasking, so not really. I can't think about that and talk actively.
No, I promise you. So you know what my laptop looks like as far as all the tabs.
Scary, y'all.
It's terrible. There's like all types of tabs on there. But in my head, I feel like I have multiple tabs in my brain. Yeah. And like while I'm having a conversation, I can be slightly thinking about something else, slightly doing math in the back of my head at the same time because I have multiple Chrome tabs.
But I disagree with our
4. What? I just asked myself, what's 2 + 2? 4 while you were talking.
He's so annoying. Did y'all hear that? What type of nonsense just happened? You just said a random number and then came up with an explanation on why that random number. No, but this is going to be a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But no, what I think happens is, again, you just delay some of the processing, because when I'm talking to you, sometimes you'll be like looking at me, but then you'll repeat it afterwards. Because I can tell you're not actively listening while I'm saying it. You're just like writing it down, if you will. And then the second time you're actually listening to it, and then we'll respond to it. So it's like you had another tab on while I was saying it, but then you'll repeat it and then actually like take it in and respond. You'll be like, oh, okay. You said that. well, and I'm just like, okay, you just actually let it sit in the second time.
And to just fall deeper into this rabbit hole, because this is sometimes what we do. It's almost like, you know, sometimes when you do right click, open new tab, but until you actually click on that tab, the page doesn't load. So it's like, it's there, it's a tab, it's thinking, has the potential, but you have to actually be focused on it and click on it for it to fully load and comprehend. Right. Like that.
Yeah. So I don't think you're actually doing multiple things at once. I just think you're really good at switching back really quickly.
Yeah. On the computer as well.
Yeah.
But that didn't give you any more time to think about this Ask Declare. So you let me know how you want to handle this. But the Ask Declare for the week. And if y'all have people who are listening on live on the recording, definitely make sure you like and subscribe to the M4 show. Tap in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Definitely like, follow, and support. We appreciate you. But if you have an answer for this question, put it in the live comments, DM us on Instagram, let us know. The question is, when do you know enough is enough? It's time to stop struggling with the entrepreneurship, stop struggling with the real estate, stop struggling to write that book, whatever the idea is, whatever the business venture is. How do you know when it's like, you know what? This isn't working. This isn't for me. I'm going to stop.
I don't know that I have a clear-cut answer, but I can go through how I knew it was time to stop the business venture that we're alluding to.
Okay.
Is that good enough?
That is more than enough, Sinclair. Go ahead.
Thank you. So the business is Potluck. For those who
y'all remember Potluck,
y'all remember Potluck.
Who remembers Potluck? I know Granny remembers Potluck.
It was a food delivery app, and it came about because in California they made it legal 3 years ago now, somewhere like around 3 years ago, to sell food from your home kitchen. And so we, being the business-minded, manifesting visionaries we are, we're like, oh my goodness, this is opening up a whole new door for a business. You could be like a Uber Eats.
Mind you, we had the idea before it became legal.
We did like a year before.
Had the notes, had a little idea down, and we were like, okay, well, when this becomes legal, let's do it.
Right. So then when it became legal, we took that as a sign, like, oh, we need to do this, right? I'm big on,
we're gonna build $1 billion app.
Oh, we're gonna be the next Uber Eats. Excuse me. But and you know, at first it was cool. We got the whole family in on it, right? Everybody we talked to was like, that's great, that's brilliant, man. Oh, that's great. So we were like, okay, this is it. We got to start this. We got to get it going. Again, we got like whole family involved. So we would have weekly meetings every week with, you know, my family, and everybody had their roles. My mom agreed to have the first kitchen. I was like, perfect. We can test out this process on my mom and my dad. They were in the kitchen. And so at first it was cool. But then those barriers started to come. Until those barriers started to come, right? Okay, how do we market this? Like, how do we find people who are going to put their kitchens on our app? And then, like, how do we find people who are going to want to buy from the people who have their kitchens on the app? Because this is a new thing. Like, people may be a little bit iffy about buying from people's home kitchens. Like, how do we get past all of that? And then the process of actually starting a kitchen, good Lord, it is tedious. And so that's where a lot of the attention ended up going is, okay, let's learn this process. What paperwork needs to get done? What inspections need to happen? And so we did that relatively well at first, we thought. And then, you know, as more interest came, it was just very like, I'm interested. And then I used to have weekly info sessions. So every Thursday at 7:00, I would come. You can imagine us sitting here.
All right.
Right. And I'd sit here and I'm like, I'm committed to doing this every single week because we're going to have people flooding in. And, you know, we'll just keep a nice steady stream of chefs coming onto the platform if I'm here every single week. Y'all. It got so exhausting to be here every single week. And I would have people like, you know, 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, 1 person RSVP for these info sessions. And 90% of the time they would not show up. And that just wore on me after time. I did this for months.
Week after week.
I did this for probably 4 months, 4 to 6 months, like just every week, like I'm doing these info sessions. And so after a period of time, that just gets exhausting.
Yeah.
We did not have capital to invest in like marketing to get this word out to like a mass group of people. So it was really just like on Instagram, we had like 200 followers. I don't think we got past like 230 followers.
Hey, we was popping.
But I was DMing people, anytime someone would post like a picture of their food on Instagram in the area, I'd be like, oh, hey, have you ever thought about selling this food? Right. And so it got so exhausting. It got so taxing after a while. And for me, I just started to realize this isn't actually a passion of mine.
Before you get there, talk about competition.
Oh yeah, competition. So there was, I'm not giving any free press on here. So there was a company who had started this work actually before it became legal. And so they were actually kind of in on the lobbying, if you will, and to get it passed. So you can imagine how much passion, right, and how much dedication is built into this company, because they had been doing it probably 5 years before we had even thought of this. And so they had gone through like being, getting like a cease and desist and then coming back. And so like they were as committed as we are.
Seed investing of like $1 million.
Right. So they were committed to this, and they then started to enter the market that we were in. Of course, like he just said, they had a seed funding of $1.5 million. We had
seed funding of a couple thousand,
couple G's. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to the family. Shout out to our pockets.
Right, which we invested a lot of that into merch and like aprons and like all these things that we thought people would like. Like, okay, I get a nice apron. I get these cool bags. All this stuff.
We still got a whole bunch of bags, don't we?
We do. If y'all want a bag, let us know.
If you need some grocery bags, listen.
But long story short, it became very hard to compete with them, because they, of course, once they entered the market, they're doing these I got ads from them. They're doing a lot of targeting. They already had a presence in Northern California. And so it was much easier for them to tap into this market and just saturate it. Right. So they are getting chef after chef after chef after chef after chef after chef on their platform. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here every Thursday like it was so frustrating too, because I would go in like 15 minutes early and I would stay for like 15 to 20 minutes after. So it was 30 minutes of just sitting here being ready for somebody to come into the meeting.
And if they did hop on, usually their camera wasn't on.
Right.
And, the queen would be on the camera doing her thing the whole time. And then they would be like, okay, well, thank you. I'm kind of interested. And then either crickets, ghost, or they would sign up, they would start, but not finish.
Or they would just pretty much leave during the meeting. And it's like, fam,
that's the worst.
It's me and you in this meeting. How you just gonna be just log off in my mid-sentence?
Just mute and just listen at that point.
Right. I'm like, damn, that was disrespectful. But yeah, that was it. There was a lot of things, a lot of layers to this, but even doing research into the competition, like seeing like how much work they had put in, I started to ask myself, like, had I known about this before, would I have put in that same effort? And one day I was like, honestly, no, I probably wouldn't have. Like, oh, it's illegal. Oh, okay, I don't know. Like I probably would have threw my hands up a lot sooner, because it's not, cooking is a passion of mine, but I don't know that this idea started to feel more convenient, like more convenience, that, oh, it's convenient that we had this idea right around the time that it became legal. So of course, again, we're visionaries. So it was like, this must be a sign, but it really just might've been, convenience of timing, because after those barriers, it was like, we're not making any money off of this. We're at some point losing money. And I don't know that I feel the drive and the commitment to get this to where it needs to get. And I do feel that commitment with all of our other ventures. It's like, okay, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure this out. But at some point it was just like, do we want to do this? Like, how many conversations did we have that were like, do we move forward with this? Do we want to keep going with this?
So a few things I want to circle back to is, one, you said you didn't have, like, you talked to yourself and you were just like, you know what? This business, this field isn't a passion of mine. It's convenient. It can be lucrative, but it's not where my heart is. And I think sometimes we get mixed up between pride and passion. Right. And I think, like, for both of us, I know this was like on there, a lot of hard conversations, because our friends knew we started this business.
Right.
We had our families at these weekly meetings. So it was like, it felt like we were giving up on our family. It felt like we were giving up on our friends. And it was just kind of, for lack of better words, embarrassing to fail in public. Like,
I still have people asking, how's potluck?
How's potluck? It's like, hey, it's not a thing anymore. Right. And it's hard to admit that as an entrepreneur, but you have to really check yourself and figure out, okay, am I doing this out of pride?
Right.
Or am I doing this out of passion? And then the second thing, this is a conversation that we had, was in order to make a technology app really successful, it needs to be the main thing.
It does.
Right. You can't start an app on the side,
right,
and want it to be $1 million app and want it to compete with literally $1 million company. It needs to be the full thing. And at the time, very blessed to have the family on board. And I want to get to a point where we can do something like that again, because it was a dope feeling and just a really good vibe to know that the family rock with us.
Right.
Like, they had our back 100%. They were there every single week, whether they were on time, maybe they were late a few times, but they were taking their notes. They were doing their cooking. They were following up on emails. They were calling people all throughout the week. And all of them had 9-to-5 jobs.
Right.
So that was one of the huge things I'm taking away from the potluck experience, is when we have an idea and when we ask for help for our family, I think they'll rock with us, especially since we failed the first time. If we bring something back, it's going to be better. It's going to be doper. Right. So I think they're going to be down with us again. Yeah. So those 2 things, 3 things, how many things did I just say?
I don't know.
But 1, pride versus passion.
Yeah.
And then 2, here it is. Are you willing to go all in in that thing? And if the answer is no, I'm not willing to go all in, then that might not be the business for you. You might need to say goodbye to it, especially if it's not being profitable in the moment.
Right. Yeah. That was, I think, the final conversation we had where we made the decision was like, okay, you either have to go all in and kind of let everything else become secondary, or we need to drop this. And yeah, my passion was not for that. Y'all know I'm the health nerd. I'm not the tech nerd. So my passion is for health, my passion, right? So I was like, that is where I want, if I'm going all in, it's going to be on that. And so, yeah, that's where we kind of were like, okay, well, we have to start the process. And I think it's actually very timely that we're having this conversation, because I literally just sent the email 2 days ago to the one chef. Shout out to Karen. Yes, Karen. Dessert Divas. She's gonna be on another platform, she said. So check her out when we know what platform she's on. She's getting a shout out on here, because you need to tap into her if you're in the IE. But yeah, she rocked with us. And so I also felt that too, of like, dang, we don't have 100 chefs that we wanted, but we got this one person who's been rocking with us since the beginning, through the ups and downs, through the app's not working, through the I asked for a payout, where's my money, right? All of those things, she was still there. So I was like, I don't want to, but I finally was like, okay, I'm probably not doing her a service either, because I'm not putting my all into this app. So yeah, I finally had to send the email of like, okay, this platform is going to be coming down at the end of the year. Thank you so much for your support. Please let us know if you end up on any other platform. We're going to support you, ride for you, because you've been there for us since day one. So I think that was another layer of it too, is like, you feel like you're letting down the people who have supported you. But again, you have to ask yourself, what is the alternative, right? What is your passion that you could be going all in for? And who are the people that could be benefiting from that? Because you're also letting them down by not going in on that, on your real passion. So yeah, it had to be done. And she responded and was like, oh, I figured this was coming, because we kind of put a halt on everything. But she was like, I wish you the best with everything. So again, if they support you, they support you and everything that you're gonna do. So that was nice to know. But yeah.
Good stuff. Well, not all good stuff, right? And when you're on your life journey, when you're in relationships, when you're building a business, when you're building wealth, it's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows, but you need to stick through it no matter what, unless that particular business venture isn't for you, right? Unless you're not passionate about it, unless your heart's not in, unless you don't love it, stick with it.
Right. It was a good idea at the time.
Brilliant idea. Still a $1 billion idea for somebody else.
Right.
Just because it's a good idea doesn't mean it's a good idea for you.
Right.
We got a long list of other billion idea. Don't you worry, Sinclair. Don't you worry. I know.
We'll be busy for a lifetime.
That's a fact. Feel free if y'all got any questions, comments, go ahead and put those inside of the live chat or in the comments if you're watching on the replay. We know there's other stories out there, and we just trying to be transparent about our journey, because sometimes when you're researching about wealth and you're trying to build wealth, all you see is the Ferraris and the people who own private jets and the big huge conferences that people are hosting, and it's all successful, it's all beautiful. And when you try to do your one webinar and 2 people show up, you think you're a failure. No, everyone starts with that webinar with them just talking to their grandma. Everyone starts with that company where your number one customer is your nuclear family, and eventually you build up, right? So keep on going. We believe in you. You believe in you. Don't you stop. All right. Queen, anything you want to get into before we get into updates?
No, let's do it.
Let's do updates. So every year we take a trip. Every year we talk about goals. Mm-hmm. We talk about the vision for the future. Mm-hmm. Can you tell people what we're doing this year, please?
This year.
Oh.
2022.
Oh.
We always do this goal planning around New Year's, because it's a perfect time to really reflect about the year prior and think about what your goals are going to be for the year upcoming. So this year we are going to be in the area of California. I realize that there are multiple Bay areas.
Are there?
There are. Well, Californians be like, there's only one Bay. I promise you, when I was visiting Florida and they were like, over here in the Bay Area, I was like,
I was like, wait, what? What's happening?
Never mind. They said Orange County. I said, oh, okay. Y'all stealing all of our names.
Florida was the state first.
Devon, don't let the details get in the way of a good story.
My bad.
We're prideful people over here. Mm-hmm. But no, yeah, we're going to be in Oakland. We're going to be celebrating. We're doing an M4 experience. Yep. Where we're going to be not only having fun, but also like each day we do workshops where we sit around the table and we really just talk about, like, kind of workshop our reflections and our goals. We have these questions, we think about them, we reflect, and then we share them. Because I think that the idea of saying these things out loud helps with accountability. Right. The last time we did this, we all shared our goals, and it was cool to see, like, a year later, we went back. Now, potluck was a goal on here. It was. But it was cool to come back like a year later, and we were like, oh, wow, like everybody's kind of, if not accomplishing their goal, they're moving towards that goal. Like, it was cool to be able to see that, because we all knew what each other's goals were. So we were able to kind of be each other's hype man, and yeah, it was really, really cool. So I think the step of sharing those goals and sharing your triumphs and tribulations are important too. And then, we have some fun too.
A little turnout. A little something. It's New Year's,
Yeah, do right.
Yeah. So next year we do want to make it even more available for folks. So if you are interested, you can comment here, DM us, anything like that. This year we do got some entrepreneurs and visionaries from Atlanta tapping in with us. We got some social media experts from the Southern California area tapping in with us. We got some health people from the Bay. Is that considered the Bay? Palo Alto, it's Bay.
Yeah,
it's Bay. So we got there's a lot of different people from around coming into one place, all with a vision of building wealth, all with the vision of building themselves, and of course, having a good time.
We have a guest appearance by the one and only T Nasty.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness, yes.
That's just a nickname for my brother, y'all. That's his rapper name.
Yeah.
You'll see him on Spotify one day.
Yeah. Not on anything associated with M4, because his stuff is not family friendly. Hence the name.
Right?
Hence the name. It will not be associated with anything on the brand. But yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. So check out or be on the lookout for some more content and stuff related to that after New Year's. We encourage you all to do the same thing. Figure out what are your values for yourselves. Figure out what are maybe 2-3 tangible, measurable goals that you have as individuals in the marriage. And then this morning we talked about like priorities and goals for us as a couple. So yeah, just go ahead and do that exercise, write them down, make a vision board, and actually visit it every 3 months, 4 months, and see how you're making progress.
We should more formally do that this next year, like maybe at the end of the trip. Say like, all right, when do we all want to follow up with each other? I'll check in on these goals. It can be just a Zoom call. Yeah. But yeah, maybe like each quarter. We can just schedule it, get it on the calendar, and be able to check in.
I'm with it. Oh, sorry, we have a handshake. I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know either.
Fist bump. And of course, my update for the week is make sure y'all get Black Wall Street, the board game. Right. Christmas, Kwanzaa, all the amazing holidays are right around the corner. If you want your game in time for the holidays, I say we can guarantee it if you order by December 10th, December 13th at the very latest. So make sure y'all go to playblackwallstreet.com and you get yourself either the second edition of the board game or the masterpiece. We're only guaranteeing shipping on the board games. Order shirts, hats, all those other things. Yeah, no, board game. All right, get the second edition of the board game. Have fun with the family. We also have courses available on there. So introduction to Afrofuturism, history of Mansa Musa, the wealthiest man to ever grace this planet. We have introduction to African melanated queens, where you can learn about Queen Saraonya, Queen Calafia, a lot of other dope stuff on there. So yeah, if you're a homeschooling family, you have kids, you want them to tap into Black history, again, make sure you go to playblackwallstreet.com. Get yourself a board game and enroll in a course today. Queen, felt like a good episode. Yeah. Felt like, we got to release a little something. And
transparency.
Transparency.
There's a therapeutic effect of being transparent. Like, we're not trying to uphold this perfect picture. We ain't perfect, y'all.
Not at all. Not at all. But we still great. Period. Still melanated brilliance over here. Galactic gorgeousness. Hello, corny. But yeah, love being able to just show people the journey and have them hopefully learn and get better from our experiences, our mistakes, or just our barriers.
And I think what's cool too, like what you mentioned earlier, is a lot of times with successful people, you don't hear about them until they're successful. So it seems like they're an overnight success. Whereas we are trying to take y'all along the journey so that y'all can meet us in the promised land of, being a millionaire marriage, and a couple and a family unit, creating that generational wealth. So we're trying to show you the steps as we're going through them, so you get our very authentic experiences, rather than we make it to the mountaintop and now we're coming back to tell you, because I feel like that always it's not always going to be as accurate as what you're going through in the moment. So I think it's a cool experience to be able to say these things as we're going through them, but also to think about us being able to look back at these, in 5 to 10 years when we accomplish all that we say we want to, and be able to look back and be like, oh man, you remember when we were struggling with that first tenant? But yeah, I think it's a cool journey, and we hope y'all come along with us. Stick with us.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, we appreciate y'all for tapping into episode 141 of the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making, aka the M4 Show. I'm your host, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
And I'm Sinclair, aka the health nerd.
Make sure y'all secure the marriage. Make sure y'all secure the love. And of course, make sure y'all secure the bag. Thank you for supporting the M4 Show and our mission to increase the wealth of Black families.
If you received any value from this episode, any value at all, any, do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, anything, all of them, all of them. Wherever you're listening, go ahead and like and subscribe.
And after you like and subscribe, make sure you send this episode to at least one family that you really want to see win. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.